The struggling American automobile industry has been in the headlines an awful lot lately, but while two of the big three have been forced to take government bailout money and file for bankruptcy, one automaker has managed to avoid all of that, the Ford Motor Company. So, how did they do it? Alan Mulally is Ford's CEO. Mr. Mulally, it's good to have you here.
Glad to be here.
I'm sure way back in business school there was a course called Competition 101, and in that course it said if your main two competitors are struggling, they're self-destructing, you move in for the kill. Is that the way you understand it?
Well, not exactly that way, but clearly, a couple of years ago, Matt, we put together a plan to really transform our Ford Motor Company, and we made a commitment that we were going to have a full product line and we're going to make the best cars and trucks for our consumers, and that's what's happening today.
But are you in any position to take advantage of the troubles facing your other two competitors? You reported $1.4 billion in losses in the first quarter, but sales were up. Can Ford take advantage of this situation, or are you also teetering on the brink?
Well, I think it'll be decided by the consumers, and as you pointed out, for the last 8 months we've been increasing market share. The consumers love our new cars and trucks, and we also provided guidance that we're going to be back to being profitable and growing in 2011.
Here's what the federal government, though, they went in and they invested a lot of money in Chrysler. They invested a lot of money in GM, some $50 billion. In effect, hasn't the federal government now unleveled the playing field for Ford? Aren't you now at a disadvantage when it comes to competing with leaner and meaner companies emerging from bankruptcy?
Well, clearly, Matt, we have many more things that we're more competitive and that we do have advantages because we've been doing this for 3 years. We're well along in our transformation. We've got a great cost structure, but most importantly, we continue to invest in the worst of times, and we probably have the finest lineup for the consumers that we've ever had.
But I'm not sure you're answering the question. What I'm saying is through their bankruptcy proceedings, Chrysler and GM have been able to shed dealer costs and union costs and all kinds of things, shed some debt. Can you now do that short of filing for bankruptcy?
Absolutely, Matt. And we started this 3 years ago, and we just reduced our debt by another $10 billion. We actually went to the equity markets. People believe in us. They invested $1.6 billion in the new Ford. We have a great agreement with the UAW that allows us to make cars profitably in the United States for the first time. We have a dealer network that is by far the best in every small and medium-sized community.
So you're telling
we have been doing this for a while.
You're telling me as a company you need nothing. You're not looking to the federal government for any help, whether it's bailout money or anything short of bailout money, to make you a more viable company in the future.
We have a great plan, and we are creating the future of Ford ourselves today.
When you look at the situations with Chrysler, and let's maybe focus on GM more, Mr. Mulally, how do you think this is going to impact the psyche of the consumers? I think this could go either way. One hand, they might say, wait a second, I'm not going to buy a car from a company that is in bankruptcy. I don't know if my local dealer is going to be around. On the other hand, I'm wondering if the American taxpayer might say, wait a minute, I now own 60% of that company. If I'm going to buy an American car, I'm going to buy a car from a company I have a vested interest in. How do you see it?
Well, I think the consumer is going to purchase the cars and trucks that they really do want and they really value. And the neatest thing about Ford is that we have done this on our own, and that we are so proud, and the consumers are so proud that Ford is creating their future by themselves and not accessing this precious taxpayer money.
Are you the underdog now? Is Ford an underdog in this situation as these two other companies emerge from bankruptcy and reorganization?
Well, I sure don't think so. And remember, we were very supportive of the U.S. government helping GM and Chrysler temporarily, and clearly their goal is to get out of the business as quickly as they can.
How quickly do you want to see them get out?
Because we really believe this industry is so important for the recovery of the United States that it's so important that we have a viable and exciting automobile industry for all of us.
Some people have said, Mr. Mulally, that GM could turn out to be a Vietnam-type situation for Barack Obama. Do you see it that way at all?
We are focused on Ford, and we're going to make the best cars and trucks that the consumers really do want and value.
That wasn't an answer.
It's a great answer.
It's a safe answer.
It is a true answer.
I don't have another one to come back at you with there.
And we need to go look outside. I don't know whether all the people here are looking at the new Taurus or they're looking at you, Matt.
Well, we'll go take a peek at that in a second. That's nice. And thanks for bringing that for me. I appreciate that. Mr. Mulally, it's good to have you here.
It's great to be
luck.
here. Thank you.